Welcome to our today's webinar. My name is Patricia, and thank you all so much for joining us. Today's webinar is presented by WBDC, Women Business Development Council, in collaboration with CNPP, which is the Community Navigator Pilot Program. If we could please switch to another slide.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, I want to talk about the CNPP first. The Community Navigator Pilot Program was established by the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The SBA launched the CNP program to strengthen the outreach to underserved businesses by partnering with organizations with deep roots in their communities. And these are some of the free consultation we offer through the program. So if any one of you are interested in one of these services, feel free to email me. My email is down here, patricia@nu.marketing, or you can scan the QR code. Also, there's going to be a Q&A after Carol's presentation. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to throw them in the Q&A section. And this webinar is going to be recorded. Next slide, please.
Working on that.
Thank you.
Go next. It's not going next. Right, here we go. Let's for that. Okay.
And now let me introduce you our today's speaker. Carol Cheswick is a business advisor at Women's Business Development Council since 2012. She supports aspiring and established business owners to start, build, and grow their businesses by improving profitability, identifying opportunities, and clarifying goals. Carol provides one-on-one and group business advising and teaches classes. With more than 40 years of experience in strategic planning, finance, marketing, and investing, and executive consulting, she also helps companies refine and execute business strategies and encourages individual clients to identify their talents. Carol was a managing director at Appleseed Food Frontiers and the principal at Cheswick Investment. She has worked at Citibank and Scudder, Stevens & Clark, and holds an MBA in finance from NYU's Stern School of Business after graduating from Wellesley College. Yeah, welcome, Carol.
Wow, that's me. Hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be here and to talk to you about writing a business plan, or do you even really need a business plan? First and foremost, I want to tell you that the people in these pictures are people who are WBDC clients. And we have, well, I'll tell you a little bit more about them in a minute. The WBDC was founded in 1997 by Fran Pastore. We're located in Connecticut, and we serve business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs across Connecticut from 3 offices in Stamford, New Haven, and New London. Women's business centers, just so you know, are throughout the United States. They were established in the mid-1980s when the Congress realized that there was no information on women's entrepreneurship. So there are women's business centers all around you in New York and in any state that you may be living in. So our goal is to provide support for women entrepreneurs and men. About 10 or 15% of our clients are men, through entrepreneurial training, financial education, business counseling, and access to a variety of resources. We do individual classes, multi-session series classes, individual one-on-one counseling, and we also have an e-learning library, which you can access on our website at www.ctwbdc.org, and that information will be included at the end of this slide. So first and foremost, if you ever told me that I would be somebody who would become an expert on business plans, I would have laughed at you, because to me, they seem really boring and dry, and why does anyone need to have a business plan? And believe it or not, if you don't think you need a business plan, you're wrong. And simply because I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've worked with who have started businesses without a business plan. And it's like trying to go from New York to California in the car without a map. You need to have an idea of where you're going, what resources you have, and you also need to be able to communicate with the rest of the world and tell them what you're doing. So it's very important that you not only get it out of your head and put it down on paper or on your computer, but it's also important that you be able to communicate it to the people you work for, the people who might be trying to finance you, or just trying to understand what your next steps are. So if your answer is yes, you're right, but that doesn't mean your life is going to be miserable while you get it done. So again, we work very hard to make sure that this is something that's approachable and something that you can do relatively easily. And I'm wondering, and again, since I can't see you all, if you could go into the chat at some point and tell me if you have an existing business or if you're planning on starting a business, and maybe even telling me what kind of business that is, if you have a chance. So I'd just be curious to know what you all are doing. And I appreciate people are raising their hands, so I'm assuming people have businesses, so that's good. So one of the most important things is, are you running your business or is your business running you? I have many, many clients who are just decide that they want to. I talked to somebody this morning, she sells soap and she just wanted to sell soap, and she has no idea how much it costs her to make the soap. She has no idea what it costs for her to package the soap. And all she knows is that she goes to farmers markets and she sells soap, but she has no idea if she's making any money or if, you know, what her worth is. I have lots of stories because I've worked with lots and lots of entrepreneurs. I have one woman who used to make fruitcake, and she would take it to church every Sunday, and she would sell the fruitcake for $20 a fruitcake. And I asked her to look into how much does it cost her to make the fruitcake. And 2 weeks later, she came back to me and said, it cost me $18 in ingredients to make a fruitcake. And this was a very heavy fruitcake. And at that point, I told her that she might as well just be giving away the fruitcake because she's not making any money. And what she really should be doing is selling her fruitcake for maybe $40, if not $60 a fruitcake. And her response was, I can't do that. These people are in my church and I don't want to charge them. So that becomes a hobby as opposed to someplace where you're really going to try to make money. So it's very important that you recognize the value of what your product is and what it takes for you to deliver it. So that's one of the reasons that you need to be able to do this kind of exercise so that you can talk about the value add or what you're making from this business. So I'm going to go to the next slide. And this goes to the, are you running your business or is your business running you? Oftentimes when you are out selling something, and again, I'll go back to the woman who's selling soap. She's so busy making the soap. She's so busy creating the packaging. She's so busy selling the soap that she never has a chance to sit back and look out and find out what the horizon is for soap. Who's the competition? Why do people buy her soap versus somebody else's soap? And it's really important that you recognize that while this might be a recipe that's been in your family for hundreds of years and you're very proud of it, it might not be the best alternative, or there might be something else out there that other people are looking for. And especially in the era where we're all online and the internet's there, it's very hard to distinguish yourself and show how you're unique. So I want to make sure that when you think about your business, you step back. And competitive analyses are particularly important. There's all sorts of things that you need to do to be able to understand who you are and why people are going to be buying whatever the product or service is that you have. So I want you to think about changing your perspective. So business planning does work. It helps to identify what your priorities are. It introduces who you are, and it does it in a way that, with practice, is clearer. I talked with a woman this morning and I asked her what she did, and it took her 20 minutes to tell me what she did. So she's actually going to start taking a business planning course with us because she needs to be able to say within 10 seconds, 15 seconds, what she's doing, and to give me an idea of why I'm interested in whatever that product might be. So you need to be able to do a crisp presentation and make it understandable from somebody else's perspective. It helps to define what you want to accomplish. So going back to hello, my name is, and I offer this product is one way to introduce yourself. Another thing that we're going to talk about is helping people understand how you can help solve their problems. So for example, somebody who might be making their own soap might have a family member who has psoriasis or a sensitive skin, and they can't use the regular kind of soap that you would pick up at the drugstore. So the presentation might be, if you're somebody who has sensitive skin, I have a product that will help heal your skin, or whatever it might be. So the idea is that you're introducing the product not from your perspective, but from the perspective of the people who are buying it from you. So, so you need to have your priorities. You need to understand what the buyers or the consumers of your goods, what their priorities are, and then identify what you want to accomplish. I spend a lot of time with people asking them, how are you going to make $5,000? And I think it's a great exercise, especially as you start out your business, to think about, all right, I'm going to sell soap. Well, now let's figure out how many bars of soap you need to sell and what the cost of those soap bars are going to be. So while it might be easy to sell $5,000 worth of soap, you might need to sell $15,000 worth of soap in order for you to walk home with $5,000. So understanding what the sales price is and what your cost price or cost structure is also very important. And then talking about how you're going to get it done. I talk with many, many people who are interested in opening up a brick and mortar presence, having their own building, paying rent. And many of them, for example, are interested in doing it before they've sold their first bar of soap. And so it's very important that you need to understand, well, maybe I'm not going to use, or I don't need a store first and foremost. I might be able to sell at a farmer's market. I might be able to sell online. I might be able to sell at a different location in a way that I can make some money, but I might not be spending an enormous amount of money on rent or insurance or some of the other high costs that you have when you have a storefront. So understanding what you're gonna sell, how much it's gonna cost you to sell, and how much money are you going to make. And again, it's very simple math. Some people are intimidated at the thought of math, but it's very simple in terms of giving you the perspective of understanding how much time it's going to take, how much money it's going to take, and how much you're going to get. I'm going to sneak up here and look at the Q&As just to see if there's any questions. Thank you, anonymous attendee. You're thinking of an importing business and an amalgamation of services. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to go to the next slide, and please feel free to, if you have questions or you need me to go into more detail, I'm happy to do that. So what's in a business plan? I'm going to share a business plan program that we use extensively at the WBDC, which is called liveplan.com. And I am not a salesperson for LivePlan. I don't make any money using their program, but I have worked with hundreds of clients. And I think this is one of the easiest ways to create a business plan. And it costs $20 a month for the basic fee. And I'm going to show you LivePlan as soon as we finish this slide. But I want you all to recognize that you can just go to liveplan.com. You can investigate what their different services have, because they do have more bells and whistles on some of their fancier programs. but the idea is that it makes business planning and writing the business plan a little less intimidating. And again, the goal is to get the information out of your head and onto a piece of paper, or again, on the internet, so that you can communicate what you're doing. So what's in a business plan, first and foremost, is the startup plan. Like, what's it going to cost you before you sell your first bar of soap? And understanding that you might spend some time learning about it. You might go to soap school. You might try a variety of different ingredients. You might try a variety of different packaging. Everything that you need to spend before you sell that first bar of soap. And then also recognizing what kind of cost that's going to be. A competitive analysis is what I started talking about earlier, which I think is one of the most important, if not the most important thing that you do. If you are planning on starting an import or export business, you need to know what you're importing or exporting, who else is doing that, what kind of pricing do they have, what kind of delivery do they have, and what makes your product better or worse than somebody else's. So it's really, really important. And I actually have talked to many clients about, you can do things like you can go on Google and you can create a fixed Google search, so that if you find out, I'm gonna go back to soap just because it's so easy. If you want to figure out if Palmolive is going to come out with new soap products, you can literally Google, provide me with updates on new soap products from Palmolive, and you give them your email and you will be able to find out what the new products are, or if there's an American or US soap manufacturers organization, you can start tracking what's going on, not only in your local business, but also in the broader business. And that's one of those things that happens, obviously, in the era of the internet. I would also encourage you to look at competitors, not just those who are near you, but those who might be national or even international. So again, you have an understanding when you're talking to a customer and they say, well, why should I buy from you? You can very clearly say, well, yes, my competitor does this, but I do that. And that, I think, makes it a more appealing purchase for whoever your target market is. A marketing plan has to do with what makes you unique and what kind of message you're going to have. So what are you going to say when you use social media, or when you are on a website, or when you're at a farmer's market talking to somebody, or you have signage? What are you going to say? And I don't want to spend a lot of time on branding or logos, but it's important that you think about your business as an individual, and what do people think? This is actually a shorthand. What do people say about your company after you walk out of the room? Do they say, wow, I just had this wonderful interaction and I feel great, and I think this person is making the perfect soap for me? Or do they feel like something's not feeling right? Whatever. I want you to think about your product as a living organism that people are looking at, and in order to really have a good product, people need to trust you, and people need to feel confident that you understand what they're doing. And that's one of the things that a marketing plan will help you do. A business description, again, I was talking about this a little earlier. If you can do, some people call it an elevator speech. Some people call it a variety of things, but the idea is to talk about, this is my business and this is what I can do for you. And try not to be the one that's doing all the talking. Try to get people to talk with you and have a conversation. We also put in here financial forecasts. That's important because you need to figure out, all right, the first month I'm going to sell 50 bars of soap, and the 10th month I'm going to sell 500 bars of soap, and in year 3 I'm going to sell 5,000 bars of soap. Well, that all sounds great, but you need to be able to make sure that you have the capacity to manufacture these goods or deliver these services. You have enough people who can do whatever you need to have them do so that you can actually deliver these products. So understanding your capacity, understanding customer demand, is very important. I talked with somebody a couple days ago who started a website, and she started it in November, and she was complaining because she had had absolutely no sales from November to now. And she just thought that if she built a website, people would come. And that's not what it's all about. It's all about creating relationships and a relationship of trust so that people will seek you out and ideally be a repeat purchaser. So that's where financial forecasts come in. And again, it's a guess, but you want to be prepared in the event that you're selling no soap this month and 5,000 bars next month. What are you going to do? I often have clients who get excited because QVC might be interested in their products, or a home shopping network, or getting into Oprah's magazine. And one of the biggest problems is, especially for small entrepreneurs, they really look forward to getting into the big time, but they don't have the resources to do it. And that can be scary. So thinking in advance and planning for growth is really important. And that gets right into goal setting. Trying to have an idea of where you're going, what does success look like to you? Is selling 500 bars of soap good, or do you need to be selling 2,000 bars of soap? What works? And then last but not least, the executive summary and the pitch is something that you write at the end. As somebody who's read many business plans, the more concise and to the point you can be, the better. People who are reading business plans tend to be people who are providing grants or providing loans, and who are trying to understand your business. And if you can do it in a how do I say this, concise way, you're going to have a much happier people who are reviewing your product, and they're going to understand what you're doing. Does anyone want to ask a question? You can see it. Okay, thank you. All right, so this is, you go to a live plan, you create your company, and mine's called Carol's Company. And again, there's places where you can connect if you have an existing online financial system. And the first thing, and this is what I was showing earlier, is you go to the top and it says, what's the problem? And you click on it, and all you have to type in is say, there are many people who are allergic, I'm just making this up, people, allergic to dyes in their soap. So that's a problem. And then you literally hit, I'm done. And then you go into our solution and you put in our solution. We offer 3 different varieties of soap that don't have dyes. And you can make this as detailed as you want. Again, I just recommend that you try to keep to the point, because again, the people who are reading these business plans get tired. So then the next question is, what's the target market? And you literally click in start target market, and here it tells you what to do. Describe your target market. Who is your ideal customer? Who are the people or companies who suffer from the problem that you are solving? And then do they break down into different segments? Is there an adult version? Is there a child's version? Is there a teen version? Is there an acne version? And if you want to even get to the point where what your potential numbers are, you can start doing research in terms of what percentage of the population has problems with dyes in their soap or whatever it might be. And this might be where you actually put it in. But the idea is that you're proving to people and yourself that you really are tuned in to the people who are buying your product. So you put in the market size and segments, again, type in whatever, and then you hit I'm done. And it saves it. And then it goes into what's your competition. And that's when you can, again, start writing in the competition. So, there are very big nationally known soap products. And then there are local ones, and then there are handmade ones, and then there are mine because, mine are, only used with this special ingredient or whatever it is. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is that it gives you examples. So here's an example if somebody has a food truck, and it talks about, between downtown and campus, there are 3 different types of competitors, and they talk about different types of restaurants. And again, what's nice about this is that it gives you a perspective and gives you an idea of what you're supposed to say, because I know you all know what's going on in your marketplace, but you need to be able to tell people that you know what's going on in their marketplace. And then down here, the advantages. Well, we are strong because of the strength of our product or whatever. So that literally is the first section of the business plan. And as I said, it's right here. It's the opportunity, problem, solution, target market, and competition. And then you click to the next one. And again, I'm going a little faster because we only have a limited amount of time, but I wanted to make sure that you see this. You go into marketing and sales. So what's the marketing plan? And that's what we were talking about before. What kind of message do you have? How do you want people to be thinking about you? What makes your product special? Why are people going to come to you? The sales plan has to do with how are they going to find you? Are they going to find you on the internet? Are they going to find you at the grocery store? Are they going to find you online? Where are you? And literally at this point, you just fill in things like locations and facilities, right? I'm going to be making the soap in my kitchen. And when I start selling 10,000 bars a day, then I'm going to move that to a new location, and I'm going to need a location that's going to have 5,000 square feet or whatever. But that's all you have to do is literally just answer these questions. And the goal is to help keep you focused so that you just answer the questions and you don't start going into other areas. You just answer the questions. This is where I am right now. I can run my business from my office in my home, and I've got a computer and a printer and a wireless connection, and that's all I need. So that's all you do. Technology, if you need special types of technology, if you need special types of equipment and tools, same thing. You can literally go in and say, all right, for me to do this, I'm going to need a special now I'm doing bar soaps, and next year, once I make, $2,500 that I have some free cash, then I will invest in a bath bomb maker. And then this is another milestones and metrics, which is also important. So this is where you can literally say a milestone will be sell, sell 5,000 bars of soap. And we're going to do it by what date? You can literally put in whatever date you want to put in, but let's going to say by June 30th, I want to have sold 5,000 bars of soap. And who's responsible? I'm just putting me in there. And you're going to do it by, going to various flea markets, or you're going to sell it to somebody in, a hotel who needs it. And you literally click the click. And what I really talk to my clients a lot about is doing this in little bite-sized pieces, so that maybe instead of selling 5,000 bars of soap, let's figure out how, order 5,000 labels, and then, understand how much you're going to have to get the ingredients in April in order to have the soap ready for June, so that you work backwards and you understand what you're going to need to do in order to make things happen. I see Q&As. I'm just going to sneak up here and see what we have. I read a lot of site mentioning executive summary should be at the front. Yes. The reason I have you put it at the end is I want you to write it last, but put it at the front, because as you write the business plan, things come up, and the executive summary literally should be maybe just the top line information. You know, my goal is I'm going to sell 5,000 bars of soap within the first 12 months, and I'm going to be making this much money, and then so that it becomes very clear, and I'm going to be doing it this way, whatever, so that it's clear and concise, and it's something that can easily be read. If you think that, for example, a banker is going to read every single page of your business plan, that's probably not going to happen. So having a good, my battery.
If you're not good at the marketing part, or if you don't like taking pictures, or if the financials make your skin crawl, think about finding people who can help you, and recognize that you don't have to do it all yourself. There's some people that do, but invariably, whenever I look at a business plan, there's always something where you're really comfortable and you talk about the stuff you're comfortable with, and you try to glaze over the stuff you're not so comfortable with. And that's one of those things where I'd say, please make sure that you spend some time focusing on that. So know yourself, know your customers, keep it simple. Know your financials, which is something, you know, how much does it cost you to create something, and how much is it going to cost for you to sell that? And take your time. Don't try to do things too quickly. One of the advantages of doing a business plan, and I hear this many times, is people say, I don't know what I don't know. And by doing a business plan, you may just run into things that you don't know. And again, everyone's going to make a mistake. This is not going to be perfect. Life is never perfect. But the idea is that if you try to think about as many different things as possible and talk to as many people as possible, you might minimize the number of risks or the number of mistakes you make. We spend some time talking about, you know, once you start selling products, how are you going to sell more? And this one is bankers are interested in giving you money if you can prove to them that you can turn their money into more money, meaning through planning, through pricing. We all know how much prices have gone up in the last couple of months / years. You know, understanding how that would impact your business, how that would impact what you're doing to sell your products. Are there volume discounts? If you start selling more, are your price or your costs going to go down? Paying attention to margins. And again, all of this are things that you can focus on with somebody who can help you write these business plans. And I do recommend that you write them yourself. I've had a number of people who've hired people to write business plans, and that sounds all well and good, but unless you are in the weeds and you know what's going on, it's best for your business. And one of the things we talk about often is try something. If it doesn't work, try something else. I had one woman who said, well, I was doing email marketing and I sent out one email and it didn't work, so I'm not doing it. And my response to her is, you should be sending out hundreds of emails. You should keep trying it, because maybe you sent it to the wrong person. Maybe you weren't targeting the right audience. Maybe, you know, what you were saying in the context of the email wasn't what they were interested in purchasing. So recognize that you got to keep trying a variety of different things, and then reevaluate and then try it again. So it's an ongoing iterative process. So the next page is, we ignore that. And so let's stop sharing. And again, I apologize for disappearing. But if anybody has any questions or wants to talk about